When the clock strikes midnight, some don't hear cheers, they hear the echo of something far darker, waiting in the silence. Welcome to Winds of Thought. Tonight we step away from the celebrations to share 3 true accounts where New Year's Eve became a gateway for the inexplicable. Have you ever felt that shift in the air when the old year dies? A strange, watchful quiet? For these people, that feeling was just the beginning. My story starts on December 31st, 2019. A date circled on every calendar, a global fresh start. For me, it was a painful anniversary. The previous New Year, I lost my partner James. A sudden, savage blizzard on a mountain pass took him. The official report said exposure, but I always felt the storm itself was a living thing that wanted him. I'd spent a year in our secluded cottage in the Canadian wilderness, listening to the wind for a voice I'd never hear again. My only escape was my annual winter retreat to my family's home in Skagway, Alaska. Their old A-frame, nestled in a fortress of pines, was my sanctuary. The night before my trip, the weather turned. A storm mirroring the one that took James slammed into the region, trapping me inside. The world outside my windows was a writhing, white void. I retreated to my first-floor bedroom, a book unread in my lap. Around 11:30 p.m., a sound detonated in the chaos, the loud metallic clunk of the deadbolt on the back kitchen door retracting. My breath vanished. I had checked that lock 3 times. I sat frozen, straining to hear over the wind scream, no following crash of a door opening. Just that one definitive mechanical sound. Was someone or something already inside? Grief opens a door in the soul, and sometimes something else decides to walk through. I spent the night barricaded in my room, a kitchen knife on the nightstand. Dawn was a mercy. The storm had gentled to a snowfall. With trembling legs, I investigated. The back door was locked, the deadbolt firmly engaged. No footprints in the deep snow outside it. I tried to logic it away, a pressure change, a frozen mechanism. But the fear had rooted itself. I packed my car in a frenzy and pointed it north toward Alaska. The drive was a hypnotic tunnel of gray highway and white flakes. I arrived at the edge of the Skagway forest near dusk. The final mile to my parents' house is an unplowed trail. I parked and began the trudge, my suitcase a clumsy anchor in the fresh powder. The woods were cathedral quiet, the snow muffling all sound. That's when I felt it, the distinct, skin-prickling sensation of being watched. I stopped, scanning the wall of trees. 20 yards ahead, a man stood perfectly still between 2 large firs. He wore a long charcoal gray coat, the hood pulled up against the falling snow. He made no move toward me, no wave. He was just a statue, facing me. "Hello? Are you lost?" I called out, my voice swallowed by the trees. He didn't respond, didn't shift, but in the gloom, under that hood, I felt the weight of a gaze. And with a jolt that hit my stomach, I recognized the posture, the slight tilt of the head, the set of the shoulders. It was James's stance. A whimper escaped my throat. As if hearing it, the figure turned smoothly and walked deeper into the forest, vanishing into the twilight. I sprinted the rest of the way to the house, sobbing as I burst through the door. For 3 days, I was wrapped in the safety of my family. We laughed, ate, and I almost convinced myself it was a stress-induced hallucination. But why would my mind conjure him there, so far from home? Was my grief somehow staining every place I sought comfort? Then, the call from work. A system failure required my unique login credentials. I had to return immediately. A deep, irrational dread filled me, but duty prevailed. I drove back through the night, arriving at my isolated cottage at 2:45 a.m. The moment I stepped inside, the air felt wrong. Stale and cold in a way the heater should have prevented. I flipped the light on, and there on the small dining table I never used were two objects: James's favorite Zippo lighter, which I had kept in a memory box on a high shelf, and a single, half-melted red candle in a holder. They were placed neatly side by side. The memory box was still on its shelf, closed. The ladder I'd need to reach it was in the garage. No one had been here. No one could have been here. Yet the evidence sat before me, a silent, impossible message. I backed out of the room, my heart hammering. I spent what remained of the night in my locked car in the driveway, the engine running for heat. At first light, armed with a baseball bat, I re-entered. The lighter and candle were gone. The table was bare. The memory box, when I got the ladder and checked, still contained the lighter. I called a friend, babbling. She insisted I come stay with her in the city, and I didn't argue. I've never spent another night in that cottage. But your mind doesn't let go. If that was some remnant of James, what was the message? Was it a goodbye or a warning? Or was it something else, wearing his shape, drawn to my sorrow? And the most terrifying thought, do we by mourning too deeply keep the doors between worlds from fully closing? Contrast is a cruel teacher. While millions cheered in the streets of Manhattan, I was in a silent 24th floor office prison. New Year's Eve in New York is a sensory overload, but up in the cloud, it's a vacuum. As the lead accountant, the fiscal year ended with me. My team had bolted by 4 p.m., leaving me with a mountain of digital ledgers. By 10 p.m., the only company was the hypnotic glow of my triple monitors and the low hum of the server room down the hall. I was deep in a complex reconciliation when I heard the first noise, a sharp, metallic snick, like a latch releasing. It came from the direction of the main reception area. I paused my typing. The building was old, it groaned. I resumed work. 5 minutes later, a new sound, the faint but unmistakable squeak of a rubber-soled shoe on polished concrete. Someone was walking slowly in the dark lobby. My blood cooled. The floor was supposed to be empty. After hours, access required a key card I personally controlled. I stood up, my chair rolling back silently. I grabbed my phone, thumbed on the flashlight, and moved to my office door. Peering into the dark hallway, I saw nothing. Hello? Is someone there? My voice sounded thin, swallowed by the cubicle farm. No answer. But the feeling of presence was thick, a pressure in the air. Was it the night janitor? Security? But they always checked in. I took a few steps out, the beam of my light cutting shaky paths across desks. Then I saw it. The red exit sign above the stairwell door at the hall's end was glowing, meaning the door was ajar. It's supposed to be shut, triggering an alarm if held open. I moved toward it, each step an act of will. As I neared, a figure stepped into the doorway from the stairwell, silhouetted against the dim emergency lights. He was tall, wearing a dark hoodie and jeans. In his hands was not a gun, but something more profoundly confusing, a professional-grade video camera, its red recording light a tiny, unblinking eye. He pointed it directly at me. "Happy almost New Year, Sarah," he said. His voice was calm, familiar. It was Mark, a freelance contractor we'd used sporadically for 2 years. A guy I'd shared coffee with, discussed weekend plans with. "Mark, what are you doing? How did you get in?" He took a step forward, the camera still trained on my face. "Your keycard logs are easy to spoof, Sarah. You always work late on the 31st. I've been documenting." His words were flat, devoid of their usual warmth. "Documenting what?" I asked. backing up. The solitude, the vulnerability, the moment before the change. He took another step. It's fascinating. You're all alone, but you're not really alone. Not when I'm watching. The casual, predatory truth of it hit me. This wasn't a robbery. It was a ritual. He'd been planning this, studying me, for who knows how long. The violation was absolute. The most dangerous intruders don't steal your things, they steal your sense of safety. I turned and ran, not to my office, but to the opposite end of the floor, to the CFO's corner office, which had a lockable, solid wood door. I slammed it shut, locked it, and called 911 from the desk phone. I heard his footsteps pacing outside the door for a minute, then silence. The police found him in the lobby, packing his camera gear calmly. He offered no resistance. In his apartment, they found hundreds of hours of footage, not just of me, but of other women in their offices, homes, and gyms, all filmed on holidays or late nights. He called it a study in isolation. The case never went to trial. He accepted a plea deal. I changed jobs, changed buildings, but I still feel that red recording light on me in quiet moments. It makes you wonder, in our connected world, how many unseen eyes are documenting our most private struggles? And what do they do with that footage when the recording stops? Sometimes, the monster doesn't hide in the digital shadows. It knocks on your door during a blizzard. We lived on a 40-acre farm in northern Minnesota, so remote that a trip to the mailbox was a journey. My dad was a state trooper, and on that fateful New Year's Eve, a pileup on the interstate meant he wouldn't be home. The blizzard warning had escalated to life-threatening. Mom, my younger brother Sam, and I battened down the hatches. We built a blanket fort in the living room, popped popcorn, and tried to ignore the angry roar of the wind. Then, at 8:17 p.m., the pounding started. Not a knock, a relentless fist shaking the frame. Boom. 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 We all jumped. Mom peered through the side window. A massive shape, a human snowdrift, stood on our porch. Her rule was absolute. In a blizzard, you answer. You could be saving a life. She unlocked the heavy door, fighting the wind to open it a crack. My truck's in the ditch, half-mile up. I'll freeze. A man's voice bellowed. She let him in. He was a giant, over 6.5 feet tall, his Carhartt overalls crusted with ice. He shook like a bear, snow cascading onto our rug. As he thawed by the wood stove, he introduced himself as Jerry from the county roads crew. But his eyes, a pale, watery blue, didn't stop moving. They inventoried our home, the exits, the phone on the wall, the fireplace tools, us. He focused on me. I was 14. "You're the man of the house tonight, huh?" he said to me, his grin not reaching those eyes. I nodded mutely. Strong kid. Could help me dig my rig out later. Mom interjected sharply, "No one's going back out in this, Jerry. You're welcome to the couch until it blows over." He nodded, but his gaze kept drifting back to me. He asked strange, specific questions. "You got a basement, son? A root cellar? This old house looks like it might have good storage." Mom's hand tightened on the fireplace poker she'd subtly picked up. Just a crawl space. Nothing down there. The hours crawled. Sam fell asleep. I pretended to. Through my lashes, I watched Jerry. He never slept. He just sat, staring at the fire, occasionally looking at his watch. Then at 3 a.m., he stood up silently. He didn't go to the bathroom or check the door. He walked to the center of our living room, crouched down, and peeled back the corner of our large area rug, examining the floorboards beneath. He ran his fingers along a seam, then nodded to himself, as if confirming something. He replaced the rug and sat back down. My blood turned to ice. he wasn't stranded. He was scouting. At dawn, the wind died. Mom, with the poker clearly in hand, said, "Storm's past. You should get to your truck before the plow buries it." He stood, stretched, and looked directly at me. "You're a good family. Isolated, but good. Remember, sometimes help is closer than you think." The threat was velvet-wrapped, but clear. The moment he disappeared into the tree line, Mom called 911 on her cell. She didn't describe a stranded motorist. She described a potential predator. Deputies found his ditch truck. It was parked a mile away in a hidden turnout, engine cold, with a full tank, a shovel, and a duffel bag containing zip ties, a tarp, duct tape, and a list of 4 other remote addresses. Our address was circled. He was not a county worker. They never found him. He vanished into the vast white wilderness. The detective later told us they believed his intent was abduction, and that the storage questions were about having a place to hold someone. It makes you question every act of kindness. When you open your door to a stranger, are you saving a life or inviting the end of your own? These 3 true stories share a common thread: the profound vulnerability that comes with isolation, especially on a night when the rest of the world is looking the other way. But they also leave us with unsettling questions that go beyond the fear. That's where I want to hear from you in the comments. For the first story about the phantom in the blizzard, do you think it was a genuine paranormal visitation fueled by grief, or a dangerous, intelligent entity mimicking a loved one to get close? What would you have done with those objects on the table? For the second story, the IT contractor with the camera, which is more terrifying, a violent intruder you can fight, or a methodical observer who has studied you and violates your life as a project? Have you ever had a gut feeling that you were being watched, only to dismiss it? And for the final story, the stranger at the door, what's the protocol? Do you still believe in helping someone stranded in a storm? Or has the world made that too dangerous? What would you have done differently that night? I read so many of your amazing insights and theories every week. Your discussions in the comments are often the most fascinating part of this channel. So please, share your thoughts below. Let's get a real conversation going. If these real accounts resonated with you, please show your support for Winds of Thought. Taking a second to like this video makes a huge difference. It tells the algorithm to share these stories with more people like you who appreciate deep, true mysteries. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and tap the bell. We delve into the unexplained every week. Until next time, stay curious and maybe keep a light on at midnight.